Once upon a time, in a prosperous kingdom, there was a wise and intelligent minister who was deeply trusted by the king. This minister had a unique perspective on life, often saying,
Everything happens for a reason, and for the best.
One day, while practicing with his sword, the king accidentally cut his finger. Blood oozed out, and he grimaced in pain. The minister, as usual, tried to comfort him, saying,
Do not worry, Your Majesty. Everything happens for a reason, and it is always for the best.
However, the king, overwhelmed by the pain and irritation, was far from comforted. He felt his minister was being insensitive and indifferent to his suffering. In a fit of anger, he shouted,
How can you say such a thing when I am hurt?
Without further thought, the king ordered the guards to throw the minister into the dungeons as punishment for his remark. Days passed, and the king continued his routine. One morning, he decided to go hunting in the nearby forest. The thick foliage and the abundance of wildlife made the forest an ideal hunting ground. With his retinue, the king ventured deep into the wilderness, tracking a deer. As fate would have it, the king lost his way and became separated from his companions. Wandering alone, he was suddenly ambushed by a group of tribal men. These men, known for their peculiar rituals, captured the king and bound him tightly. The king, frightened and helpless, asked what they intended to do. Through broken communication, he learned that the tribe intended to sacrifice him to their deity as part of a sacred ritual. The king's heart sank. He regretted venturing so far into the forest and thought bitterly of his misfortune. When the moment for the sacrifice arrived, the tribal priest came forward to examine the king. Just as the rituals were about to begin, the priest noticed the bandaged finger where the king had been injured. Upon closer inspection, he declared,
This man is not fit for sacrifice. He is injured and incomplete. We cannot offer an imperfect body to our God.
The tribesmen murmured in agreement and, without another word, released the king. Relieved and overjoyed, the king quickly made his way back to the palace. Along the way, he reflected on the events. The words of his minister echoed in his mind.
Everything happens for a reason, and it is always for the best.
Upon returning, the king immediately ordered the release of the minister from the dungeons. He recounted the entire incident and admitted how wrong he had been to imprison him.
Your words were true.
The king said with genuine remorse.
If it weren't for my injured finger, I would have lost my life. Please forgive me for doubting your wisdom.
The minister smiled kindly and replied,
There is no need to apologize, Your Majesty. Even my time in the dungeons was for the best.
The king, astonished, asked,
How can you say that? You were unfairly imprisoned because of me.
The minister explained,
Had I not been in the dungeons, I would have accompanied you to the forest. The tribesmen would have seen that I was uninjured, and they might have chosen me as the sacrifice instead.
The king was amazed at the minister's perspective and wisdom. From that day on, he held his minister in even higher regard and learned to accept life's challenges with patience and faith. Moral of the story is, sometimes things that seem bad at first can turn out to be blessings in disguise. Everything happens for a reason and often for the best. If you like the story, please like, share, and subscribe to my channel. Also share your opinion in the comment section.